Today lecture is regarding the principles of setting teeth and the teeth arrangement and removal partial denture. Since we finished the metal framework removal partial denture by finishing and polishing it, and we send it to the practitioner or the dentist or the prosthodontist to check the seat of the framework inside the patient mouth. So the next step will be restoring the teeth and by attaching the artificial denture teeth using a resin into the framework. Now, generally, the teeth selection is essential at this point from the dentist regarding also many points in a teamwork with the practitioner and the dental technician. The size, shape, and mold of the artificial teeth are selected for the patient. The selection for the removed partial denture is similar to that of complete denture. Hence, in this section, uh, actually, the removable partial denture, it is easy to use or to select the artificial denture teeth since we have many remaining natural teeth. The selection of the type of the teeth is mainly based on the anterior and posterior selection. So we have the aesthetic point of view for the anterior teeth and the posterior in terms of functional. The selection of the interior based on the type of the material, whether the selection, of course, of the in term of antagonist, whether you have in remove partial denture opposing natural teeth, restored acrylic denture teeth, or probably fixed removable partial partial denture, or removable partial denture, or complete denture. So it depends on the opposing and the adjacent teeth to make the load distribution properly within your appliance. Now, generally, the selection of the teeth is either is based on the material, shade, mold, and so on. But generally now, it depends on the type of the material. So starting, for example, with the acrylic denture teeth, which is the same with the complete denture as well. These are the most anterior space. The acrylic denture teeth is useful and indicated in the most anterior spaces. And also when the labial contour must be built with a flange, this will give an excellent indication with the using of acrylic denture teeth. Now, the advantages: it is good in aesthetic, not brittle in thin section, durable even in debite cases because of the compacted properties of this acrylic denture teeth. The disadvantages is that the labial surface is airy excessively, leading to compromised aesthetic. This is the probably one of the disadvantages of the acrylic denture teeth. Now, with the porcelain denture teeth, the indication with the removable partial denture, we should indicated, of course, for most anterior spaces, and if adequate space exists, of course. Now, the labial contour is to be restored with a flange extension, of course, is the same as that with the acrylic denture teeth. The advantages is excellent aesthetics. Now, the disadvantage of the porcelain denture teeth is of course, the brittleness. We also have the interchangeable facing denture teeth to be used. This used for or indicated for debite cases, single tooth replacement, so this will be easy to replace. And the advantages is the strongest of all artificial teeth, of course. Facing can be replaced easily when fractured, so it's only the facing on it. And the disadvantages, not as aesthetic as porcelain or acrylic denture teeth, of course. Also, the other type of the teeth to be used is the press-on or post teeth. The press-on is either be processed in the lab, or it is already manufactured. with the hole, or it is as opposed to generally indicated with the same case with the interchangeable facing. As it is, the face is made of porcelain, and we can adhere the lingual or the palatal surface with acrylic. The advantage is very strong even in small size. The shades these are the most denture teeth that we use with the partial denture. Now, starting with the shade selection, I just want to say that one of the disadvantages of the press on or post teeth is the fair moderate aesthetic. That's because of the two parts of the material. Now, the shade selection, the factors that considered by selecting the shade of the artificial teeth is essential. First of all, if natural teeth are present, the shade of the teeth adjacent to the edentulous space is taken as index. But we should put in our mind that if they are anterior going to posterior, starting with the anterior teeth going to posterior, the teeth start to be darker. Okay. Now, the artificial tooth should be checked before matching, and also be moistened. That means should not be dry with the shade guide. Lighting, we should use natural light better to select the artificial teeth. Midday sky against the direction of the sun rays is the most appropriate background for the shade selection. Do not use the shade guide using the light of the chair, dentist chair. We should use the midnight selection or the daylight, and of course the midlight is the perfect for the shade. When the operator stares at a tooth for a long time, may their eyes will undergo fatigue, leading to interpretation of the shade. Fatigue can be avoided by providing intermittent rest to the eye. So it's like hide and seek game. It's going away from the teeth for a while and going back to double check the color and take advice of the other practitioner next to you or assistant next to you to make sure that the color is perfect. Do not admit to the shade unless you are going to make sure that the shade is proper and can be agreed by many practitioner or colleagues sometimes. For selecting the mold of anterior teeth, the following factors are essential to be put in our mind in selecting the mold of the artificial teeth. First of all, it should be a harmony with the patient feature. That means if the patient's square face, so the teeth should be square. If oval or ovid or quadrant or rectangle, so the teeth should be the same. Otherwise, this will be discrepancies in the mold with the face, and this will be a little bit anesthetic. Even if the individual teeth are irregular, it is sufficient if they are in harmony with the natural teeth. The opposing teeth and the teeth adjacent to the dental space are taken into consideration during mold selection. The bite, cross bite relationship should be considered, because if we have space, less space, than that we should replace the teeth with the same mold of the natural one that we selected. We should put in our mind some a little grinding the distal surface, or we should use less the mold with the size that's a little bit different, but without sharp demarcation between the natural and the adjacent. And the opposing, of course. So in terms of using, for example, small size teeth, patient or large teeth, we should put in our mind, do not replace them with a small size within too many teeth. we should make sure that the size of the teeth or it's almost the same with that of the natural or the adjacent and the bossing. If the edentulous space has been decreased due to migration or adjacent teeth tilting, of course, or super eruption of the bossing teeth, space regaining measures like proximal slicing, fabrication crowns. We need many treatment before construction of the removable partial denture framework. Should be considered before the selecting the mold of the teeth. Sometimes we need some preparation or filling, so we can make use of single crown with a raised seat on it. So this will be actually preferable. For the posterior teeth are selected based on the type of the material used, shade, and is not mandatory for posterior teeth, of course. The shade is not mandatory as these are mainly for functional. So the resin teeth here indicated can be used against gold restoration. For example, we can be used against natural teeth, and also we should put in our minds can be used against porcelain teeth. And the advantages of it, it's easy to arrange over the residual ridge and near the clasp, of course, because it's easy to be grinded. But the disadvantages of it is poor abrasion resistance. With the porcelain denture teeth, the indication when the bossing teeth are porcelain or resin restoration. The advantages, of course, aesthetically brilliant. They are excellent also to wear resistance and very high efficiency. But the disadvantage of using these teeth, of course, the brittle, weak in thin section, more difficult to process because it tend to break easily. May abrade, of course, opposing natural teeth. Now, so we have many things to put in our mind in terms of using opposing teeth, in terms of we have different restoration regarding replacement of removable partial denture framework, and the selection of the teeth for our restoration. First of all, the acrylic teeth with gold occlusal. This is one of the techniques that probably we can use. The indication where plastic is indicated but cannot be used due to poor wear resistance. So we can use the base from plastic with the gold occlusal. The advantages, they are excellent wear resistance, of course, because the metal opposing either porcelain or another metal. Good chewing efficiency, fracture resistance, but the disadvantage of it, the fabrication process is time consuming and expensive because you're gonna cast the metal and then using press-on technique to fix the design or the wax pattern of the full tooth on it as a resin or pressing method. This will increase the weight of the prosthesis because of the gold, of course, and the combination of two material, resin and gold. The cast metal also indicated small and restricted posterior dental space where aesthetic is not very important, and the advantages for it is the easy to advantages is either easy to maintain, good wear resistance, and of course good fracture resistance. And the disadvantages of cast teeth is that the hard surface, very hard surface, may produce discomfort during mastication, heavy weight for the prosthesis because it's made of metal. We can use the press-on acrylic. The indication is already for posterior dentulous space. The advantages fit easily into smaller dentulous spaces and adequate strength, but still the disadvantages is the aesthetic, as inferior to porcelain and acrylic denture teeth, as these are press-on acrylic material. The other technique we have also the amalgam occlusal surface on acrylic resin, and the indication is the same as that for the acrylic teeth. And the advantages improved wear resistance compared to acrylic teeth, and it's cheaper than gold occlusal, of course, because of the amalgam available and cheaper than the gold, and easy to fabricate by the dental technician or the technicians. The disadvantages: inferior wear resistance compared to gold, as the amalgam susceptible to be corroded. Um, Cannot be used opposing metallic restoration because of the galvanism, the galvanic phenomena. There is this will be electric shock in the patient mouth. The arranging of the artificial teeth are essential in term of framework and the closer rim, setting the articulating master cast, and then the artificial teeth are arranged over the closer rim in the same way with the resin, of course, regarding that the framework the record is the metal framework, the removable partial denture framework. That the occlusal relation they're articulated and to maintained, and then articulating paper used to check permanent contact on the occlusal surface. The rules for arranging posterior teeth is essential. The occlusal surfaces of the artificial teeth should be altered according to the opposing teeth to be obtained occlusion. Apart from the setting principle, there are certain considerations and rules for setting artificial teeth in partial dentures. And the factors that may affect positioning of artificial teeth in partial denture in terms of we need to trim them, reconstruct or rearrange it according to the opposing and the adjacent teeth. These are the positioning tooth adjacent to the clasp. But the artificial tooth should be adjacent and adjusted just and positioned according to this three different structures, namely the clasp, the residual ridge, and the opposing teeth. So we should put in our minds that the tooth that adjacent to the edentulous and to the clasp, we should put in our mind the type of the clasp, the residual ridge that we have, and the opposing teeth. And also the positioning of the maxilla bicuspid for maximum aesthetic, the pleasing composition can be achieved if the buccal flange in the premolar region is removed and the teeth are kept putting direct against the mucosa. This gives a superior aesthetic appearance in comparison to the flange, of course. Also, the other factor, probably the intercuspation in the posterior teeth, or intercusping the anterior teeth. As a general rule, an ideal occlusion should be strived for, but this, however, may not be possible in all cases. Placing lower teeth buccal and probably placing the lower teeth buccal to the crest of the ridge would lead to formation of endostress within the prosthesis. The occlusal surface should have adequate grooves, ridges, and spill away to function efficiently. Flat, broad occlusal surface of natural teeth should not be opposed to flat artificial teeth, because this may lead to masticatory inefficiency. And the occlusal surface of the opposing teeth should be recontoured to suit the opposing natural dentition. These are recontoured surface should be finished and polished before denture insertion. The maximum intercuspation may be achieved in the articulator, but fine adjustments have to be done intraorally in office. abrasion of the stone cast in the articulator can lead to discrepancies in the occlusion. Uh, all of these should be managed as these factors affect the positioning on the arrangement of the teeth in the remove partial denture framework in terms of opposing opposing and adjacent natural or natural teeth or another restorations. We have different methods in attaching artificial teeth. Selection of artificial teeth for foam, shade, material must precede attachment to the denture. As, for example, if we have metal to metal, this will be different from metal to resin and resin to resin. Material in terms of the composition of the material and the type of the attachment. Artificial teeth may be attached to denture bases by several means that follow with acrylic resin. With cement processed directly to metal cast with the framework and by chemical bonding. Taking the acrylic resin teeth, for example, artificial resin teeth are retained by a chemical union with the acrylic resin since the material is made of acrylic and the denture base is made of acrylic. And this occurs during laboratory processing procedures. Attachment of acrylic resin to the metal base may be accomplished by nail, bead retention, or retention loop. So we have chemical and mechanical. Any junction of acrylic resin uh, with metal should occur at an undercut finishing line or should be associated with some retentive undercut because only a mechanical attachment exists between metal and acrylic resin. Every attempt should be made to avoid separation and spage between the two parts or between the denture, the metal framework and the acrylic, which result in discoloration and uncleanness. Denture odors are frequently caused by creation of the junction of the acrylic resin with the metal when only a mechanical union exists. Now, with the porcelain teeth, of course, the artificial porcelain teeth are mechanically retained. The posterior teeth are retained by acrylic resin in their holes. The anterior porcelain teeth are retained by acrylic resin strongly their lingual placed rotation bins. We have bins as well. So generally the porcelain teeth either available with the hole loop inside it or with the bin, and generally they are using bin to give a mechanical retention, whether this with the acrylic or with any other polymeric denture based material. These are the methods of attaching artificial teeth, bearing in mind that the techniques with the technician may be need highly carefulness in terms of holding the teeth and the indexing of the teeth in the processing of attaching the two parts. Whether you are placing few or many denture teeth. The next week, the quiz to be prepared. What are the advantages of amalgam occlusal surface on acrylic teeth? To be prepared, and thank you for today to follow me during this lecture. I'm looking forward for the next week lecture. Take care and goodbye. Thank you.